Hi, everybody. It's Mike from Here the Watchman. And, today on the Watchman's Report, we have someone that many of you have requested that I interview several times, and that is Mr. Russ Dizdar. Russ has a fantastic show, Shadow the Darkness. You can just go to his website and you can see how to sign on. He will be speaking at the Hear the Watchman conference, IDAHO, August 18th through the 20th, and then journeying with us on the 21st up to witness the total eclipse of the sun and pray for America and just be a part of all of that. And Russ has been to every Hear the Watchman conference that we have done. And Russ, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, it's good to be with you today, Mike. Glad to, excited concerning the trip to Boise, Idaho.
Well, it's going to be an amazing conference. I mean, not only is it the conference like the other Hear the Watchman conferences, but we do have on that Monday the trip up to witness the total eclipse of the sun. And we've completely sold out the tour bus, but we have a caravan of folks going up with us to witness that and see what's going on. And folks, I want you to know we have very few seats left at the conference. If you want to attend in person, use the promotional code Dizdar20. That's Dizdar20. That will get you $20 off the ticket price to attend the conference. But you can also use that same code if you can't make it to enjoy the entire conference through our on-demand live stream platform, which we use Vimeo now. And by using Vimeo, you can watch it through Roku or whatever. It's $39.99, and you get to watch it for 6 months. So think about that. I mean, you pay a couple $100 to watch a fight on cable. You can pay $9, and you can watch this conference for 6 months, and it'll change your life. I guarantee you. Dizdar20, again, is the code. Just put that in the promotional code, 20% off the live stream, $20 off if you want to physically attend the conference. Now, Russ, you've been doing some really exciting work. And on your radio show, you just had a series, I think you're finishing it up today, about what's happening, the sexual decadence in America and what's going on. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, we did this probably 4 or 5 years ago.
We did this probably 4 or 5 years ago.
We had a series of, we had like 15 hours. Well, we lost all the MP3s. I could not recover the MP3s from anybody, so we weren't able to post it or whatever. People have been asking, so I decided to do the entire project over. And actually, we're only 4 days into it. We got another 8 or 9 sessions. We're covering a large, it's called Sexual Decadence and the End of Man. It's also based on prophecy, what the end of days look like, because the top 3 things that will grip hundreds of millions of people will be direct demon worship, pharmakia, the drug issue, and sexual decadence. So that when God comes to call the world to repentance, those are the 3 primaries that they will not turn from. So the dark side is accelerating moral decadence because it darkens conscience. It darkens and opens the door spiritually to the other side. So we're going to touch on the pedophile issues. We're going to touch on addictive issues, porn issues, necrophilia that nobody wants to talk about or talk. I've not heard of. I mean, we're gonna engage what we've had to counsel over the years, what we're seeing with just even believers having difficulty. So we want to end the last 3 of them with the healing aspect, God restoring a life, how to break free from sexual addictions, and how to walk pure in a very decadent world. So the temptation and the strength of drawing people into that addictive lifestyle, into that hedonism, it's gonna ramp up even more than it is now. So, and it's not just the sin issue and the hedonistic issue and the because you got all kinds of things that relate to it. You got the disease issues, you got the relationship issues that break down, families break down, you got the adultery issues, then you have the abortion issue. So sexual decadence, going outside the way God intended, and we've already done the series part on the original creation of sexuality, the bonding, the pleasure, and the procreation, and what God did. Listen, that's exciting. That's the gift of God. That's powerful, what God has given us. But sin, and I believe also the dark side, the exploitation of that ruins lives, destroys lives, and there's got to be a clear, strong answer, and a realization that we can live free, that we can live empowered, that we don't have to be caught up in it.
Well, you know, Russ, I'm glad that you bring that out, and it's a very important topic just right now, because, you know, at times I think what especially as Christians, people say that, oh, you guys are just anti-sex anything, and all kind of sexual contact is horrible and awful, but that's not what we're saying at all.
No,
is it?
No, not at all. I mean, listen, we're created with it. It's in us. I mean, that's what it's in us. We're created with this. God designed this. God knew what he was doing. And so, and then biblically, we need to realize here's what's really neglected, Mike, is the bonding effect. There is a physiological, there's chemistry involved, there's a spirit. We become one flesh. There is an imprint when we first begin to engage sex. And the pleasure principle drives it, of course, and the procreation issue. But that's why God's preserved it for an area where the bonding and the pleasure and the procreation part of this can be safe and done good and healthy without all of the damage. And so what God has designed is absolutely good. So that's exciting. There's nothing wrong with that. That's exciting. It's when you go outside of that incredible and powerful circle that God created it in, is where the damage and destruction and addictions occur.
Yeah, and that damage, destruction, and addiction destroys lives and rips up families all across America. And do you see it happening at a faster pace today?
Well, yeah, I mean, you think in terms, I can go back 39 years, 38 years in the area of counseling. You know, I've counseled as a pastor for 30 years locally, and all the people that we've engaged. So here's what I'm going to tell you is that we've had to deal with the issue of sex before marriage, adultery issues, wounded individuals who've been raped and sexually assaulted. We've had to deal with that over the years. But we've also dealt with the strange things in the last, let's say 2 decades, the last 10 years has been really rough in the sense that, and this is tough for some people to understand, but sex with the demonic realm, sex with spirits. See, the New Age and the occult side is teaching people, hey, you can have sex with the angels, you can have sex with aliens, you can astral project and have psychic sex. Then you have just the whole world of occultism, sex magic. So has it ramped up? You better believe it. It's as if Hell's Kitchen has pulled out all the stops for the end of days, just like God in prophecy said he would, and bringing this aspect to, again, bring addiction, bring a darkening to conscience, and then pushing people to even darker things. So when we're talking now sex magic and, you know, involving charged sexuality where demonic presence is involved, tantra and all the rest of those kind of things, then you have not just the addictive issues and people doing the destructive things, that the result, you know, here's what I say in the series. You can't bite a razor blade without bleeding. You can't touch a hot stove without burning your fingers. So when you take this powerful, beautiful aspect of sexuality outside the created order, which is natural, normal, and again, very powerful and blessed, when you take it outside of that, damage will occur. It will occur. But you're right, Mike, in the last 10 years or so, Look at sex trafficking. As human beings sexually as commodity. So you got a multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide, 27 million in sex trafficking. We got boys and girls that are in cages and bedrooms and places, and they're just sold over and over. Who's going to counsel them? Who's going to help get them out? You got satanic ritual abuse. All of them have been through sex rituals and sexually abused. Who's going to counsel them? Who's going to help them? So the ramping up, oh yeah, it's off the charts, but it's going to get worse.
Well, Russ, I mean, I've followed your work, and I mean, you're really boots on the ground and get in there. I know at the last Hear the Watchman conference in Dallas, I found you at 1:30 in the morning by the prayer room that we had reserved, working with people and ministering to people. And you're going to be speaking and preaching and in Boise on Friday night, and you're going to be helping people, and we're going to see God work through you. It's important to heal and deliver people from all these things, because as Christians, again, sometimes people think, well, once you're saved, it all just comes up roses, and you're saved and life goes on. Not the case, folks. I mean, we all stumble and we all have to come back, and Russ is there to help you. It was so powerful to see you begin to build an army of veterans and individuals to get out there in the streets with you and participate in your SIIU. Talk to us a little bit about that. It's the shelter.
Sure.
It's the Shatter Intervention Investigation Unit, and tell us what you guys do.
Sure. We've done it for years, since the 80s when I first started this, and it involves investigating the underground, the ritual side of things, the satanic side of things, to verify, to see that it's really true. Not just the stories to tell. We have a lot of stories we can tell, but then getting out there and engaging, which means we find victims and we find places where the victims have been, and we find, and then with that comes dealing with going after the perpetrators. So the issue of the pedophile rings, the satanic ritual abuse rings, it is so huge. We're talking millions, in the connection with both of those. We're talking every single city in the United States, every location. So our teams would go in, and primarily when we're out, it's all, we're involved in evangelism and in prayer and ministry to whoever we're going to meet. But usually we're going in to deal with a case, which might be dealing with a victim to help them. That might involve prayer, healing aspects, deliverance aspects. It might be investigating deep in the woods and other places, satanic ritual sites. It may be involving, like current cases we have, it involves exposing the underworld and even turning evidence and turning stuff over to feds. I mean, we're involved in turning stuff over to law enforcement, to feds. We have no problem wanting to nail these individuals. Many of them are very arrogant in what they do. They're very protected in what they do. So because it's so big, it's so vast, it's one thing to deal with the victims, but if you don't stop those who are perpetrating, they're going to have more victims and more victims and more victims. So I've decided since Dallas too to broaden this, to build affiliates across the nation, to invite others to come in. And it's not going to happen overnight, but we're going to keep building and building. We're going to teach people how to do things, how to get out there, engaging, exposing, researching, investigating, and really make an impact. And at Dallas, we also have Craig Sawyer, the Navy SEAL, and their group. We're going to do a little bit of stuff together in some of the exposure aspect. So I can't tell you the cases that we're on right now, because they involve, lives and cities and perpetrators that we're right now in the middle of trying to bring exposure to. So we're taking teams out this weekend. 2 weeks ago, we were out with teams. We have some of our other folks within our team. We call it Core Team 1. We have a Core Team 2. And we're just broadening what I've been doing for years and years. And it's really like a rescue. It's really like going into rescue, sometimes to extract people from those locations, sometimes to deal with the threats of the perpetrators, and many times it deals with dealing with spiritual warfare when it involves the satanic underground, and they're wanting to identify you and send demonic stuff after you. See, all of this is so real biblically. It's also real boots on the ground. And what we find boots on the ground, God has answers to in Scripture that we've seen, and God's way ahead of ahead of all of this. We just need, how about 10 million fearless believers out on the field to do what Philip did in Acts chapter 8. If we had 10 million fearless, powerful believers that'll be boots on the ground all over the place, Mike, I can only imagine the thunderous things God would do in the saving, delivering, healing, in crushing dark side stuff, in stopping dead in the tracks some of this dark, elitist, arrogant, underground stuff that goes on.
Well, Russ, I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, I think that, one of the neat things about Hear the Watchman, as Jeannie and I started it, and we've traveled to different states, is meeting everybody and having this family. It's a very grassroots movement. And you've witnessed that. You've seen what's happened. As I said, you've been to all of them. But it's important that people get out there and hear the word, not just at Hear the Watchman conferences. Now, you have a conference coming up this weekend, but next weekend, with Pastor Mike Spalding, Michael Boldea, yourself, and Coach Dave. All of you are veterans of Hear the Watchman. But where are you guys going to be, and how can people get to that conference?
Sure, Mike. Thank you. That's going to be in Lima, Ohio, August the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Now, that conference down in Lima, Ohio, is going to be at Pastor Mike Spalding's church. And it is, I've met with Mike. I had Mike come up here. Just a great, incredible, just good man of God, good man of integrity. But he wants that out on the boots on the ground issue also. Of course, Coach is like that. He's all over the ground. So we're going to do this conference, and I don't even know what the attendance is at this time. It doesn't matter to us, but I think that we're going to see once again impact. And as in all the conferences, like at the Watchman conferences, numbers of individuals get saved, numbers of individuals get baptized. But there's a lot of time also then spent in counseling, prayer for deliverance, prayer for healing, the wounds. Sin, the consequences of sin brings wounds in life too. And Jesus is the healer when we find forgiveness, but also what others have done. So I imagine in Lima, Ohio, we're going to have individuals that we're going to be praying with, just like all the other conferences and all the Watchman conferences. So if anybody can come to Lima, Ohio, August 4th, 5th, 6th, on our website, shatterthedarkness.net, all that information is there if they click on where it says conferences. And they can get all how to register. And I believe that conference is free. They're going to take love offerings, but in Lima, Ohio, Pastor Mike has made it free. So it's just anybody can come.
Well, that's fantastic. So folks, go to shatterthedarkness.net, check it out. It's Pastor Mike Spalding, Lima, Ohio, Calvary Chapel. You can Google him and find it that way. If you're in the area, get over there and listen and be informed about what's going on. And what I want to let you guys know, so you see us, you see me, you see Russ, you see some of the other people on YouTube, and Russ is going to be on Coast to Coast tonight, or you may see us on Caravan to Midnight and all that. Please understand that when you come to these conferences, we are completely accessible to all of you. We are there not just to speak and put on a conference, but we are there to talk one-on-one. Like I said, I found Russ at 1:30 in the morning, still preaching and helping people down in the conference area of the hotel in Dallas. And so he's there and he's available. I had to drag him out of there. I said, listen, brother, you need to get some rest. You got to you got a whole nother day to go here tomorrow. And
Right.
and so if you come to any of these conferences, come to Hear the Watchman in Boise, Idaho, you will have access directly to Russ, people like L.A. Marzulli, Pastor Paul Begley, Pastor Michael Boldea. The list goes on and on and on. And lives are changed at these conferences. Now, I'm not just saying at Hear the Watchman conferences. I just know only Hear the Watchman conferences because that's what my wife and I do. And I can tell you, though, lives are changed at these conferences. So get busy. Get out there. Go to Russ's website. Avail yourself of the information that he has. Sometimes we don't want to talk about the dark side, but Russ faces the dark side. And the more of us that will face the dark side and stand up, the better off we'll all be. So Russ, listen, I'm really excited about seeing you in Boise. Can't wait for your presentation Friday evening. Thank you so much for everything that you do and for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes with us here at the Watchman's Report.
Amen. Appreciate that, Mike. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you.
And Russ, just before we sign out, tell people how they can get a hold of you and where they can find you and your radio show.
Sure. The main site that we have, www.shatterthedarkness.net, shatterthedarkness.net. So if you go to shatterthedarkness.net, you'll see the Ragged Edge Radio information, how to listen. You'll see the series. We usually have a slide presentation. It'll tell you about the series that's ongoing right now. On the right-hand side, scroll down a little bit, the conference. You'll see where it says conferences. Just click on that and take your time. It's a huge site, a lot of stuff. Hundreds of hours of free audios, training courses, all free. And just take your time there. But www.shatterthedarkness.net is the main website.
Well, again, thank you so much, Russ, for coming on the show today. And folks, again, shatterthedarkness.net. Come on up, join us in Boise, Idaho. Meet Russ, go experience the eclipse with us. Phenomenal experience. And again, Dizdar 20 will get you $20 off an individual ticket to actually attend the event and 20% off the live streaming. So God bless you for the work you do, Russ, and we'll be seeing you in just a couple of weeks in Boise, Idaho.
Sounds great, Mike. Thank you. See you there.
Awesome. Folks, until we see you again here on the Watchman's Report, remember, we try to bring you the information so that you can learn and you're not afraid. The only reason to fear anything is because you're not informed. If you're informed, there's no fear, and God's got this all anyway. So God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you again here next time on the Watchman's Report.